every day for our salvation, for answering prayers, for watching over us, for protecting us. Lord, for giving us the opportunities that we have to serve your people. Please forgive us when we fail you, when we sin against you. Cleanse us, make us worthy, Lord, to call down this prayer tonight. We pray that you be with each one of us, each representative. Father, give us your wisdom, your discernment to make decisions for your people that are right in your eyes. All this we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. All right, in honor of our men and women that take care of our great county, state, and country, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the approval of the agenda.
Second.
A motion second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. Next is appearance of citizens for anything that's not on the agenda tonight. Seeing none, we'll move on to election of chairman and vice chairman. Nominations for chairman, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move to nominate Tim Ezekiel as chairman.
Thank you. We got a motion and a second. Any other nominations? All in favor?
Aye.
I can say I greatly appreciate it. It's great. It's a great honor. 9 years. Yep. Thank you. Next is vice chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to nominate Phil Yeager, if he would kindly accept.
All right. Got a motion and a second. Any other nominations? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Vice Chair, you can sit over there if you want to, or you can come over here. Okay. That's good.
Hard to be next to a 9-year guy, ain't it?
Next is the drinking water of Fork Mountain area, requested by Commissioner Wandell and Mr. Otis Phillips.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate you putting this on the agenda. We have Mr. Phillips and some folks from up that way. They handed out before the meeting here some water quality samples that was done by the Anderson County Water Authority. I understand the mayor and Commissioner Val and yourself have worked on this, and I'm not going to act like it's something that can be fixed with a snap of the fingers, but I was just hoping we could maybe just bring it up in meeting and see if there's any other solutions or any other potential ideas. I recognize it's an economic challenge to run it up that far, but I just wonder, is there any other ideas or avenues we could provide these folks in that area, New River, some clean water? And I just want to make it abundantly clear that yourself, Commissioner Val, and the mayor have always, from what I've heard, tried to work on this issue, but it's a challenge to try to run it through the Anderson County Water Authority, $2 or $3 million to run it up there. But so I wanted to open up discussion to see if there's any ideas we could pursue on trying to figure out other ways we can provide clean drinking water to that area.
Okay, Commissioner Wandell, I would like for it, as you said, we have both spoke with ACWA and even met with them again last week, and so has Commissioner Val, but I think the mayor has really made, a lot of contact with them. Mayor, if you don't mind.
Yes, so I've met with Mr. Phillips many times over the years. I've been to the Water Authority. Even back in the day, I met with Office of Surface Mining. We've been out there. We understand the issues. When the water testing samples came out, I know both the Commissioners Isabel and Val reached out to me on this as well. And I did talk with the state of Tennessee and TDEC. On this particular issue, they sent me, and I gave the information to the commissioners as well, that the treatment would need to be localized at the well level. And there were no grants or any funds that could be supplied to help them in this particular situation. They view it as a private matter. They did provide a list of all the different vendors, and that's also on the State of Tennessee website. But what the Water Authority continues to say is it's really a matter if, you know, it's kind of which comes first, the chicken or the egg. If we can get more people to locate there, then you have the volume that would be necessary to satisfy the engineering requirements. So I did ask them, you know, we have these discussions a lot. I know what I'm told, but I did ask for something in writing, you know, to confirm that opinion. And it's ACWA is saying, based on discussions with engineers, it is not feasible for the authority to extend water mains to serve the resident and the church located approximately 3.3 miles from the end of the Water Authority's existing 2-inch main. The line would also need to be changed from the 2-inch to a 6-inch due to head loss conditions. That length of 6-inch main would also result in water quality issues due to the low usage. And it's basically, if you don't have that flow going, then you don't have safe drinking water. It is Manager Clower's professional opinion TDEC would not even approve the extension due to that reason. Also, there are the economic feasibility issues associated with such a project. Based on current bids for the authority, the cost would be $2.5 to $3 million. Some localized treatment equipment would be the best option to serve the residents and the church, but the authority would not be involved with that due to the regulations that it would require. So, you know, it's one of those things, if, you know, even if a business and perhaps with some of the growth that's going on up there, you know, Anderson County is in a growth posture, a lot going on. I know there's a lot of cabins that are going in, a lot of activity associated with a distillery, ATVs. You know, it's an area where if you could get a developer, still, you know, the county can't, you know, run a project for just a developer because, you know, then every developer would want the county to underwrite. I mean, it's just there's requirements of the law. But if there were something, then there would be an opportunity where the residents, you know, could be would benefit from that particular project. So that's the information I have. I mean, I know it's always, I mean, Otis Phillips is always on my mind. I mean, he's just a never-ending advocate. Since I've been elected to office, he comes by regularly, and I mean, you know, that's all I can do is just advocate and look for opportunities if opportunities arise.
Well, Mr. Burge is invested heavily in that area, and we talked, you know, once about, because he can do more if he has more water over there, and we talked about that with ACWA, and even talked about a water tower. Mr. Burge, what do you see as far as growth? If you don't care, come up so everybody at home can hear you.
Am I on? Okay.
You're on.
Let's see, I've got 14 acres. Otis has 38 acres. There's another gentleman that has 70-something acres. And also Windrock, I guess the north end of Windrock is right there. You know, they've got 70,000 acres, but there's plenty. It's, you know, it's, I guess, which come first, the chicken or the egg? You know, you say, you know, we want growth or we need more people there to make it feasible, but then nobody will look at it because there's not water. So there's a lot of opportunities. It's a beautiful area. I mean, it's a bowl in the mountains. I mean, there's no place like it. It's the most beautiful place around. But what I keep going back to is coal mining started there. Gary probably knows more about this than me, but probably around 1900, if not before. And, you know, I don't know when the county started collecting severance tax, but coal mining was still there in the late 80s. And I know there has to be millions and millions and millions of dollars come out of there as far as severance tax just in that bowl. And I know it doesn't have to be spent there. I think it can be spent anywhere in the county, to my understanding. But I think of extracting all of that, and in doing so, that's what destroyed the water table from the people I've talked to, and I know a lot of you probably know Bobby Leach that does reclamation work, and he's done it, mining and reclamation, about all of his life. And I've talked to Bobby about it quite a bit, and Bobby was telling me, you know, there's a seam called the River Gym below ground level. That seam is, in his opinion, is what's causing the problem for the wells with the fracking and the core drilling. And so with all that's been taken from there through the severance tax, and children having to take a bath in water the color of these pews, in a county, we live in the greatest county in the state of Tennessee, and I can't see that living in this great county that these conditions, to me, appear as a third world condition. And I you know, this just blows my mind. And I know it goes back to money. When I talked to the water board, they told me they were guesstimating $500,000 to extend it the 3 miles, and I know the mayor has probably gotten, I didn't hear everything she was saying, but she's probably gotten a better number. But it's more than a money issue. There's lives at stake and livelihoods. And I told, you know, I've told several that, you know, and I know the mayor had gotten a price on drilling a well, you know, and it was a pretty steep price. And, you know, I mean, I would donate property to drill a well or what, you know, anything that's needed any way to help, you know, get water to that area. But it's more than just to us. It's more than an economic, you know, I know it doesn't make sense economically, but when you look at the broad picture of all that's been taken from there, there has to be a way to at least get water to the people that live there, and those kids that go to school every day. And, you know, they have to ride an hour on the bus. You know, you know, we're at the far end of the county, and that's where we choose to live. But I believe there has to be a way, whether it's through mining reclamation money or through you know, COVID money. I know it was first earmarked, I believe, for water and internet, and you know, I've heard there's still some of that around, and I don't know what it's earmarked for, but I think with everybody putting their heads together, there has to be a way to make this happen. And you know, I guess nobody knows the answers right now, but I guess this is the first step. I wasn't expecting to speak tonight. I was just
Sorry to put you on the spot, but you spoke very
innocent
well.
bystander, yeah.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
But-
That's why we're here.
Uh,
You know, to listen to our constituents, listen to the citizens. And when I spoke to ACWA, of course, we ran through this one thing, you know, when we had these grants, you know, for some water projects we already had, it tripled. And last week when I spoke to him, that's what you talked about, is having to go back. And he said it could be upwards of, you know, $3 million to do it. And all the ARPA money is basically gone. There's 200,000, I think, left. But you're right, and even Commissioner Yeager back 3 years ago, we set out a plan, and it kind of it went out the window. But where it was all supposed to be done for that. But you know, we can try, and if anybody's got any suggestions, and one of the things that the ACWA told me last week was we'd have to hire somebody like Campbell and Associates, you know, to do a study and to come up with a cost. I don't know what that would cost, and, you know, if we could possibly do that and take that out of the last 200,000, or I don't know what it would cost to do that study, but that's just an idea. But whether it's, you know, treating the water, whether it's, you know, getting, we'll call it city water, is what everybody calls it, getting city water there, or whether it's a well, or, you know, we even talked about putting a water tank up there, and how far the gravity flow would have to be for that. So it's not anything that we hadn't talked. We've talked several times and talked to ACWA several times, really just not got anything out of them concrete. But I'm glad that, you know, y'all brought this with Commissioner Wandale, and it kind of lets everybody else know and know the concerns. You know, it's a lot of times it's always said the further away you get from the courthouse, the least you get. But, you know, Commissioner Val and myself both have done everything that we could, you know, try to do to promote that area, and it's come a long way. It really has. You know, with ATVs, you know, you got people coming from Israel when I was over there one time, just, you know, come to New River. Mr. Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. How close is that area to another water district or utility district? I know we're 3 miles from the end of our line, but we're half a mile from the county line. Is there somewhere we could?
ACWA brought that up too as well. Is that Highland over there, and coming out of Morgan County? Who's got that? Cumberland. Yeah, Cumberland.
I mean, could we come up with some agreement or partner with them and find a cheaper route? I know that wouldn't be ideal for ACWA, but it would.
They'd be all for that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 miles across that mountain.
Yeah.
For them
Yeah,
too?
it's farther.
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
miles across that mountain, go over where they're at.
Yeah. And I think they would have to back up how many feet to change the water line, you know, go from a 6 and run it down. You know, that would have to be redone too, and that's what ACWA, but, you know, what do we need to do?
I wanted to say this too, Mr. Chairman. When I was contacted by Mr. Phillips, he had nothing negative to say about you or Commissioner Val or the mayor. And he did say he met with y'all, and I explained to him, I'm no magic man. I'm not going to fix it, but I'd be happy to bring it to the operations. But is it possible we could look at doing something to treat the current wells? I mean, you kind of touched on this. Is it possible we could, you know, put something in place to take care of the wells that are there, to make sure it's clean drinking water when it comes out to the end user?
Well, I think that's what, one of the things the mayor had spoke about with OSM and some other people.
Yes, with both Office of Surface Mining. So, you know, to Mr. Burge's point, this is a coal area, and we have had a couple or several OSM grants up in that area, but OSM did not want to, Office of Surface Mining, there were not, you know, all of that, whether it's CDBG or ARC, you know, OSM, they're all based on number of, you know, folks served. And then the engineering part, you know, if you're gonna do it to ACWA's point, is it going to be, you know, safe? OSM, at that time, they went over and looked at it, and they suggested that the only thing that was possible was to treat the wells. TDEC going to them was exactly the same thing. And both said that they did not have the authority to work on the, you know, from that standpoint, they did not have the authority. But, you know, my sales pitch was, you know, it's unsafe and it's because of coal, and it would seem that there would be a mechanism there to assist them, even if it was on a grant basis, to remedy their well. And so it's one of the things that, like, I try to keep an eye on. Does anything come out in terms of a grant that we could do something like that? But right now there isn't, and, you know, I'm happy to continue to check on that and see. But what I've been told, I did also, it's been a little while since I reached out to the Cumberland Authority on the other side, but that was, I mean, that's been many years ago, but that was an immediate no, no,
Right.
that's even further, so. But I'm happy to do that again.
How many wells are we talking about treating?
Well, let's see. There's probably 4 or 5, 4 maybe.
Okay,
Uh,
all right. Have we got any type of cost on what that would cost if the county funded it and if we did it through the remainder of the ARP money?
I think you would need to get, this would be a good introduction to Chancellor Jamie Brooks, who is,
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
so this is one of the challenges, is doing work on, so even when you run water lines, you know, the individuals are having to pay, often the tap fee or to your home. You know, there are requirements on what you can legally do, so that is something that, Chancellor Brooks could look at and see if that's legally permissible. And that would be a recommendation, to see if he could do that.
Yeah. Yeah, come on up.
The thing about treating the wells, it's, sounds pretty good in theory, but if you're familiar with that area, the backside of Windrock Mountain is loaded with cabins, all sorts of things. This side, the New River side, not very much at all. And if you treat the existing wells, how do you handle future people that are wanting to build or expand in that area? There's enough property on that side for there could be, if, as you all know, the side-by-side, the four-wheelers, all the ATV traffic has really grown. And so if you treat the existing well, that would solve the problem for the existing well. But what about somebody else goes and builds a house or builds a cabin or sets an RV park in like is considered to be done and could be done? Then you would be in the same situation. You'd have to back up and do the same thing. The question that was raised about, my home actually is on Cumberland Utilities Water District. They did move to the Petros Reservoir, which is, as they've said, 3 miles from where it's at. But it's the closest, I mean, it's 3 miles away. Either way, we're looking at a 3-mile distance. So if you brought it from Cumberland, it would be 3 miles, and if you brought it on up New River, it would be 3 miles. So my question is, I'm just saying, if you've got this property that possibly could have expansion put on it, I know that treating the wells is a thing, but the only other option that I would think you would possibly have would be if you treated the river and pumped the water to a tank, other than running it, and that wouldn't be cheap either. But like I say, either way you go, it's 3 miles. If you with whoever does it, it's 3 miles, and the water actually it smells. That's pretty strong to say.
It does.
It does, and you've seen the results of the analysis that they've done on it. So anyway, I know it's one of those things, one of those issues, but it's I don't know what Cumberland has done a lot of expanding. They moved into the Petros Reservoir and put all the treatment facilities in there, and they pull their water from there now to the Petros Coalfield area. They pull their water from down on 61 back to Oliver Springs area and Herman area. So they're pretty big company, but anyway, they did take that reservoir over, and it is 3 miles either way. And I'm not saying I don't know which way would be most cost effective, but I do know that you could consider also the river being treated. The river at one time was pretty bad, but that's when they were coal mining and all that. But all that's gone. It's not going on now. And it could either be treated and pumped to a tank, or you could bring it up New River, or you could bring it across Petros Mountain. Either way, it's not gonna be a cheap thing to do, but you know, you've got potential for expansion there. You know, these people that own these pretty large properties in there, they're just sitting there right now, not doing anything with them. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Thank you.
And you know, that's one of the things we talked about when we talked to ACWA, is putting a water tank there. But I don't know if it was ever considered about, you know, taking the water out of the river and putting it, because that's where we get our drinking water now, is Clinch River. And it might be something to look into there. At least I think what we need to do is come up with a couple of solutions and see what it's gonna cost. Because, you know, we can sit here and talk about it until we have a goal to work forward. I don't see how we can get anywhere. But, you know, if the tank, and just from talking to ACWA over the last couple of years about this, because it's been several years, is that was one of the biggest things to do. And I think, Mr. Burge, that's what we was talking about at one time, is doing a tank. And, but us getting the water there, but, you know, it wasn't considered about taking it out of the river as far as I know. But we'd definitely need a price. Mr. Phillips?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Mayor Frank was right. I've been in her office a lot. And she remembers, she came over in 2014. This has been an issue since 2014. And she says she's pretty much tried everything she knows to get a grant. But I've got me and my wife in our home. You say how much, there's only my granddaughter and her husband and 3 small children live in that other house out there on my property. Them kids are having to take a bath and stuff in this water. And you can look and see there, every bit of that, every sample they took is above EPA standards. That's not good.
It don't matter if it's 400 or 1. If you're an Anderson County resident, you need to be served.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree, but it seems like every way we go, we run into, no, can't do it, it's gonna cost too much. What's the cost it comes to people's health? I've dealt with skin cancer, my wife has dealt with skin cancer, and I had prostate cancer in 2016, whether this water caused it or not. But when the Water Authority came over and did the samples, Mr. Val was with them, and John Mitchell and Larry Clovers was there. These 2 gentlemen were there, and they saw that water that I had out there, oil film on it. I mean, anybody can see when there's oil on the water. Mm-hmm. And that water, we need water over there, no matter what it takes. But I asked Miss Frank this, and she remembers just about a week ago. Don't think as any of you all would like for this to be your only choice for water in your house. And I appreciate getting to speak with you all tonight, but I would appreciate anything that you all can do, because them 3 children, 2 of them go to Anderson County Schools, so they're fixing to start in, and we need water. We need water put up there. I mean, I know you go at the cost, but like Jimmy said, what is the cost of clean drinking water and clean bathing water for a child, and me and my wife?
I agree.
But
Mr. Anderson?
and there is, it's dirty. If you can ask Commissioner Val or the guys from the Water Authority, there's oil film on it. And my question is this: could not the Water Authority extend that line on up there with their own equipment and their own personnel and do it cheaper, do it feasible? Thank you.
Commissioner Anderson?
Well, I'd like to at least look into or explore the idea about treating the river and having a tank and figuring out what size tank we need. But then I know we're looking at this from just the water authority and the grants that are available with that, but we keep hearing about how many people are moving to Tennessee and we need more housing and stuff. So is there something through HUD or somewhere where we could look at, like, we've got this area that could be developed if we had water, and kind of maybe explore some grant options outside of just the Water Authority, maybe more of a housing. I'm not saying we don't know who wants to build there, but just as a,
Well, you gotta
as
have
a
the
way to unlock
infrastructure for anybody to build, and that's what they're saying, you know. It's the chicken or the egg, and you gotta have the infrastructure first. Mr. Birch?
There's only about From, it's almost 3 miles to this stretch of properties, but within the properties, it's just about a half a mile stretch. So if you're able to do something, some other water source within this half mile stretch, then there's not so much water line to dig. The Cadillac is to hook onto the existing water source, but if you do a different water source, there's just about a half a mile of line to be ran through the whole thing, but I just wanted to bring that up.
Commissioner Wandell?
Mr. Chairman, you know, I'm sure as many of us have seen on TV when there's, you know, hurricanes and all that in third world countries. It seems like there's a fellow that's from Tennessee that shows up and has some kind of unit that cleans the dirty water. I gotta believe there's something out there, and there's a cost. There's no question. But I kind of look at this as an opportunity for the Anderson County Water Authority not to spend $2.5 million to run a line up, but rather would they look at it as a expansion of business for them well into the future with all the property that's up there. And I like the idea of getting it out of the river, and maybe they could, and I don't know this, I'm not a utility guy, but I'd be interested in hearing the mayor's thoughts. I'd be remiss if there's anyone in this room that would say they don't believe you need clean drinking water. I don't think there's anyone here that thinks you don't need clean drinking water. Question is how we do it. So, Mayor, do you see or do you think that maybe we could, I mean, what kind of motion should we put together to explore the idea of different ways? Maybe getting water from the river, and I know it's going to cost, but maybe we can help in some capacity with a bond or something. I don't know, but I look at it not just 3 or 4 houses. I look at it as way on out in 20 years, 30 years from now, that could be the start of having the infrastructure that you need for the future.
Well, we can definitely, I mean, maybe this is a more detailed conversation with some of the engineers. So it's not just the financing, it's actually having the customers to be able to maintain the line. And that's why they're, you know, I think if, you know, there were 10 people on the end of a line, or whatever that number is, maybe understanding what that capacity is at the end of the line, I think, you know, understanding that engineering is part of this.
Okay.
So we're looking, I mean, we're focusing on the money, and we're thinking about potential growth, but as it is, it's not going to work even if we did write the check tomorrow for $3 million. And so to your point, are there other innovative ideas? Maybe there are. I mean, it's been a long time since we looked at things from the new idea standpoint, and we can start those conversations again and maybe get a better engineering idea. And then I think, you know, Chancellor looking into what can we do, what is legal to do.
Okay.
So, I mean, there is some nuance there with the law on, you know, we don't want to be on the front page of the Sentinel running a road to nowhere, running a line to nowhere. And I'm not, and I don't mean that to say
scenario,
running it to their home is to nowhere. It's
Right,
providing clean drinking water. But then if there's not other customers there, are you know, there are those sensitivities for when you tip the scales to doing something for private individuals, you're funding infrastructure. So, I mean, I think that's where there's a little bit more maybe we can look at and narrow that down for you and come back with some more engineering information, a little more legal guidance, and then do another look at it maybe next month.
How about this, to your point? I'll make a motion to have Chancellor Brooks explore the possibilities and the different ways that, if could be, you know, clean up their water. But first off, let him tell us and the mayor what we could do, what we're allowed to do to state law. And then And then second part of that motion would be to allow the mayor to proceed with the Anderson County Water Authority or engineering firm to explore other opportunities to address the issue. That's a lot of words, but hopefully it makes sense.
Okay, got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Anderson. Commissioner Val, do you want to speak?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, I want to thank Jimmy and the preacher for coming over here tonight to address this with us. For a lot of us, it's not new information. When I first ran in 2016 and was campaigning with my father-in-law, Houston, he was one of the first ones that told me this is what the people of that community need. Now, he also told me the story about Albert Slusher getting the line run as far as it is over there. For those of you that remember Commissioner Slusher, he was an icon on county commission for a long time. And I thought, well, Lord, I don't know if I can fill those shoes or not, but we'll certainly look into it. Had the opportunity to go and meet with Jimmy and Big O over there, and he's right. I saw the water that he had turned on from his spigot, and you saw that rainbow film that was on the top of it. And I mean, I'm not a chemist or an engineer or anything else, but you know, common sense says you see that there's something in the water that don't need to be in the water. So started making phone calls, found out people have been working on this problem for a long time. The mayor jumped in on it. I want to thank her for that. Called ACWA, Mr. Clowers. Want to thank him for his time. He and I spent countless phone calls with each other. I know Commissioner Isbell did as well. I know the lab tests were run, didn't meet whatever criteria needed to be met for any kind of an emergency type of response, which was shocking to me. I love these ideas that we're talking about tonight because when I saw that water that day up there at Big O's, it reminded me when I was a kid growing up in Laurel Grove before we had city water. And I can remember taking a bath and wanting to hurry up and get the bath done before the water settled. We could take a glass of water out of our faucet and set it on the sink, and it would look like the sulfur, the mud, looked like had collected down at the bottom. It was a great day in Laurel Grove when city water came to Laurel Grove. I can remember getting water. That was a big deal for us when I was growing up. And my mind went back to that childhood of having to deal with that smell, that sulfur smell, the what they're having to contend with up there. So my heart does go out with them. And I do think there is a point when we have to consider safety over everything else. And I get exactly where they're coming from. I like these ideas. Certainly I support us exploring these ideas. But the thought came to my mind when the gentleman was talking about the hopeful growth that may be coming to that area. I can remember in the past, we voted for a tax increment financing for certain building projects in this county with the hope of it would be bringing in revenue, that if they went ahead and paid for the infrastructure and other work that needed to be done, that we would allow tax increment financing for a period of time. I don't know if this type of project would qualify for that. Again, something for the chancellor maybe to research. But certainly if there were a developer who were willing to come into that area to build cabins or stores or restaurants or whatever, and they were willing to do the infrastructure work, I would certainly be interested in voting for tax increment financing for a project like that. Certainly a lot quicker than I would for some of the previous projects that we've had. I know that may be a long-term solution to this. It doesn't help us in the short term, but just an idea for us to consider to see if it's even possible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right, any other discussion on the motion? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Okay. The next mayor's report.
Okay, the first item, Mr. Chairman, is in your packet. There are required modifications to our Title VI implementation and compliance document. Kim is Kim here? She isn't here, but Kim did the heavy lifting on all of this. These are requirements. The language changes were requirements. And so I'm asking for approval of those updates.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion on the motion. Ms. Capshaw?
Yes, I had a question under monitoring. If you look at, under Section 2, Part B, is that where it's supposed to be the Tennessee Human Rights Commission? Would they have the information listed there?
Oh, let's see, what page?
I think this is page
Monitoring
3,
section,
2, Part B.
Tennessee Code annotated.
It doesn't have it listed there. Wouldn't it be the Tennessee Human Rights Commission? Would that information need to be listed there
Thank you
as
all.
far as their location and who to contact?
I will look at that, so I know, like, it's under monitoring. Are we looking at 2B?
Yes, where it says the State Department level.
It says, the client's employees will be given contact information for the state level. That is the Tennessee Department of Human Rights.
Okay.
So you're wanting to add commission to that? Or
The-
clarify that it's a Tennessee
the
Human Rights Commission,
Commission.
not just Tennessee Human Rights?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am,
We-
with the information
We'll make that
there.
change.
And then there was another part under complaint procedures. And that's Section 1, it looks like line 2. I think that is supposed to say that the acronym that's there is standing for, oh, shoot.
That's the Department of Mental Health, I think, isn't that? No. Yeah, Tennessee
be-
Department of Mental Health and Substance Abuse Services, yeah.
Does that need to be
So-
changed to either the Tennessee Department of Human Rights or Tennessee Human Rights Commission instead?
I believe so.
Okay.
If you want to modify the motion for me to verify that particular, who made the motion? Okay. I'll confirm with HR and make that correction if necessary for full commission.
Okay, and there was one more line where it
Okay.
has that acronym again, is line number 5, if you
5 on
continue
that
on the
second-
next page.
yeah, on
Yes,
that-
ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
We have a motion with the noted changes. Any other, Commissioner Barron?
Yeah, I'm looking under the complaint process. Number 1 there says complaint form must be completed and submitted within 180 days. And the way how I read the 1964 law, it says should be completed instead of must be completed. To me, that's a legal variance there. What is the purpose of that?
So I will discuss with Director of HR and ask about that. I know that that particular area was one where she updated it per the request of the state. So I don't know if that was just strictly with regard to the days or the must or should. So I will get clarification for you on that by full commission.
Yeah, because in a court of law, that can make a big difference,
Yes,
you know.
okay.
Okay, so we've got 3 changes, or 3 additions.
3 changes and 1 inquiry into the should or must.
Okay,
so.
all right. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, the next is I'm requesting a motion to approve the TDOT agreement for project PIN number that is listed there for miscellaneous safety improvements near various local roads in Anderson County, near Oliver Springs in Anderson County. And that document is attached. I did send this to the highway superintendent, Mr. Long, as well as Sally Darnell. I've not gotten an email confirmation from them yet, but if you want to approve pending their approval or their concurrence, or however you want to word that. I know we have approved something prior on that project, but I didn't want to take for granted that they still approved this, so I did reach out.
I'll make a motion with approval from the highway department.
There's a motion by Commissioner Wandell, second by Commissioner Barron. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, I want to make that motion concurrence. I didn't mean to say approval, but as long as they agreed, kind of what the mayor said.
Okay.
I guess approve, concurrence, it's all the same.
The next one is, this is coming, and I put in your agenda packet the minutes from the Legal Services Advisory Committee. One of the requirements is that, under state law, is that we do have on file with the state of Tennessee who the particular individual is in the event of a ethics complaint. And under Anderson County's process, we have an ethics resolution that identifies the law director as the ombudsman that accepts those complaints. So per a recommendation from the Legal Services Advisory Committee, I'm requesting a motion to approve the designation of Mr. Jamie Brooks as the ombudsman per the current ethics resolution to coincide with his tenure as special counsel.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Anderson,
Second.
seconded by Commissioner Wandell. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Mr. Chairman, just, Mayor, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but would you be okay with making a motion to have Chancellor Brooks look into the ethics that we have set up here in the county to make sure we're doing everything the right way? Because we hadn't met in quite a while, and I appreciate you filling this gap, because that was number one, but
Yep.
would you be okay if I made that?
Absolutely, yes.
I'd like to make a motion to have Special Counsel Brooks look into our ethics policy program and just report back to us to ensure we're doing everything in a manner we need to.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Wandell, seconded by Commissioner Capshaw. Okay, I seen your head nod, so I figured just going that way. Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
The next item is I'm requesting a motion to approve the amendment to the termination of the recreational easement Bull Run Steam Plant Reservation. This is in your agenda packet. As a footnote, I have not executed, I still have here the agreement that was approved last month at Operations and Full Commission, but there was some confusion or lack of clarity on the termination date. And so this amendment fully clarifies the date of December 1st, 2025. And so if approved, then I'll execute them both at the same time.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve this, but I had a question before we get into the voting is, because I'm reading this and it says termination of recreational easement. My understanding was that this was targeted for the Kids Palace part there, that section of land. I guess my question is, Mayor, are we terminating the ball fields as well? Because I could see how that could read that way.
So it's the first amendment to the agreement, and then the original agreement had, what we approved last month had the map I brought that with me if you want to take a
It's
look
that,
at that.
it's just a map of the playground in that part,
Yes,
not the ball fields, which is next to it.
that's not my understanding. I mean, I think, don't you, the
Yeah.
Optimist Club, I think, has the lease on that,
Yeah,
correct?
yep.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you for clarification. I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Wandell, seconded by Commissioner Barron. Any other discussion, comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, and the next item comes with a recommendation from the Intergovernmental Committee. This is a motion to approve Resolution 2409-1182, recognizing September 23rd through the 27th as Clean Energy Week, and that is in your agenda packet.
Was that Commissioner Yeager? Yeah. Okay. Motion made by Commissioner Yeager, seconded by Commissioner Barron. Okay. Any discussion?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
This resolution talks only about nuclear energy, doesn't say anything about solar or wind. Why is that?
Commissioner Yeager, we can definitely add that in there. I mean, this is open for amendment. I was specifically targeting nuclear just because of all the work we're doing on nuclear energy with Roane County and Oak Ridge. So it's not meant as a slight on any other energy source. But as we're focusing on all of the nuclear energy advancement, the Clinch River site in Roane County, that's really why I focused on nuclear. But if you want to add a sentence or something, feel free. As you can see, it's a lot of our resolutions are very long. I kept this one kind of very simple. So
Yeah.
there is room for also recognizing wind and solar as clean energy sources.
Well, I think we certainly should. I mean, you know, of course, being from Oak Ridge, I don't need a cheerleader for nuclear. I mean, you know, we live and breathe nuclear there, so I even glow in the dark. But anyway, I'd like to see something added for wind and solar. I mean, TVA's not touting their windmills anymore. I think a couple of them are still working, and I read that TVA's also buying wind power from other parts of the country where it's available. And of course, solar is something that Tennessee seems to be against as a political football. They've kind of stacked the deck against solar in our state. But I pulled an article about a Arkansas school system that set up a bunch of solar panels, and they saved like $2.5 million, and were able to give all their teachers pay increases from it, you know.
How about something along the lines, and I can, you know, update this for Monday's full commission meeting. How about something along the lines of recognizing all of those? And I guess the angle here is that it's been a long-standing promotion or understanding of the cleanness of all of those others that we've mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
But the ultimate clean energy is hydroelectric. And, you know, we're not
Yeah, we
mentioning
could
that, but.
Add that, obviously, that's part of our heritage here too,
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
that sort of thing. You know, I just wish we would do more. I mean, solar is one of the biggest growing industries in our country today and everything like that. And the fact is, we don't have a solar installer in our county, I don't think, at all. Certainly nobody promoting it, but with the laws regarding buyback from the utilities and everything like that, it's very discouraged, you know, and a shame because a lot of people could benefit from it.
I think the Anderson County School System has a solar project. The courthouse has some level, this was before I got here, of a solar component. CUB has been very active in a clean energy solar program for years in the Clinton Utility Board footprint. And so that, yes, so you're on the, I don't know how much Oak Ridge does with solar, but Clinton Utility Board has done that for a very long time, so,
I need to talk to those people.
yep.
You know, like to hear about it, because, I mean, with their smart meters, they work great. It'd be hard for Oak Ridge because we don't have smart meters. We got dumb meters in Oak Ridge, which is,
I think you're moving
We-
towards smart meters. I think that's on
yeah.
it's on the work plan.
So, anyway, alrighty, enough of my left wing propaganda.
Any other discussion? And the motion includes those changes.
Yeah, I'll just bring, a draft back for Monday's meeting and see if it meets with your approval. I'll make it a change.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous.
And I think that is all I have. Yes. One thing I just wanted to update you all on is I put out a call to the community for something called Access Anderson County Initiative, and I put one of our first agenda on there, and I know Commissioner Allen is also helping on this, but what we're doing is looking at going through, the plan is to go through each building and facility and get different folks and citizens to look at, how do I get to the county clerk's office, or how do I get this done, and where are the issues with signage, and, try to really walk through how we can help people better find where they're going. I mean, Jolly Building, for instance, is a big area where people don't know where they're going, how do you get there? And then also, some continuity in the signage. So, for instance, if all the signage is at the convenience centers, one sign, and say at a convenience center is closed for a day, visually or in your mind, you'll remember, oh, I've seen that same symbol over here. And then we're also looking at the website and going through each page, description, and going to try to do a better job of, I want to, if I'm a citizen and I want to understand, or I want to get to this, you almost have to have literacy about what your government does before you know which department to click on. So we're gonna try to do that and then fix things, maybe where there's broken links or missing verbiage or things like that. So I just wanted to make you aware, and I put those on the calendar. Anyone is always welcome to come and be a participant in that. And then we have a Google platform that everybody's just kind of reviewing things and punching it in there. So anyhow, just wanted to make you aware of that.
Okay. Commissioner Wandell?
Thank you, Mayor, for the update on that. I guess when you get to the final stages, will you bring it here?
Oh, yes, absolutely, yes.
But I hear what you're saying. Anyone
Yep.
can participate during it.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, I
like-
mean, we plan on coming forward with some recommendations ultimately. One of the things I've already noticed on just the website, and we talked about this in one of our meetings, there is no real one point of contact on the website. So Leanne can upload some things, Annette can, Stephanie can, Brian can, but we really need, in fact, I had a meeting with Stephanie today talking about that from an employment standpoint. Maybe we get someone who, a portion of their job description is just to manage the site. And do constant review of the site. So for instance, we need to get Commissioner Capshaw's picture on the website. And, you really, we're almost 80,000 people. We've got a lot going on, and we need to have somebody that's taking that under their wing. And Stephanie does a great job. But she's also the tourism director. She's not,
Do you need a
she
motion
doesn't keep
to
up
hire?
with the beer board and all of those things, I mean, we need somebody who's
Right.
keeping track of all that.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you need a motion to pursue hiring somebody like that?
Well, she and I are gonna do a little more work on it. We were gonna bring something to
Okay.
commission
Okay.
next month.
Oh, I love it. Thank you.
All right, that brings us
Oh,
to,
Mr. Chairman, could I chime in on the sign discussion?
okay, go
Real
ahead.
quick, if that's okay. Would it be possible to maybe work with the planning commission some on the signs, the temporary signs they put out for BZA or for planning, just to maybe even have a QR code they can kind of go to see the exact application, or just something a little more specific? There's been a couple instances in the last couple weeks where the information on the signs was technically correct and everything, but it was just vague enough that it kind of got some rumors and stuff. I know there's one at David Jones, the company with the variants for the tritium, and it's actually it's for gun sights for a gun manufacturer, but the way it was, the way people were reading it, they were seeing a company that from China that owned the building, and then they saw tritium, and they'd Google tritium, and they'd pull up Fukushima, and it was just way over here, and what was actually happening is safe and fine, but just if there's some way to make that, since we're going to the trouble of going out and putting a sign out, just to make it a little more clear for people.
Absolutely, and we'll
see.
put that on our list. I mean, those are the kind of things we
Yeah.
want to know, and we're going to try to fix, do better. That's the whole goal, is to do better and make us more open, transparent, informative, helpful, and people shouldn't have to search and track down everything. And so, I mean, I'll put that recommendation in there, and we'll work on that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. Anything else? All right, next is the strategic framework plan for City of Oak Ridge, requested by Commissioner Barron.
Well, I read the Oak Ridge Framework Plan, and, let me hand these out here. This is like a worksheet. That I just kind of drew up. For planning. Now, my idea is this to be done digitally, like our agenda packages. And
Thank you, Steve.
for each project, and then we could make like an index for the whole thing. But basically, we've got a lot of different projects going, started thinking about this, that, and other thing. And we did our planning workshop and put together a list of different things. And there's really not a whole lot to it. But this is something that we could work on and work from, to where, like on the new school over here, where the funding's coming from, if we're getting any grants, what phase is it in, and keep a running program going for all our projects, as opposed to before, whenever we have a study done, it's all printed out on paper and it sits on a shelf somewhere. This is something that we can modify in our commission meetings, and then change as we go along, change priorities as we go along, and something to work from. Now then, like, so many things we got going on in the past 2 years and everything, Ms. Capshaw doesn't have a clue about. you know. But with this would give her an up-to-date on everything that we're working on, or at least the major projects that we want to include in this. And then she'd have it in like an email form that she could pull up and refer to. We might want to put in references for reminders to check on something in 90 days or something like that, and then update that as we go along. Because you may not remember the $2.5 million it takes to pave the roads over here at Ben's Mobile Home Park, or, you know, what happened with that, or anything like that, you know. So we could make notes, suggestions, and sometimes change directions with it. You know, it'll be like a living document that we add to or subtract to as we go along. The only thing is, for sunshine purposes, sunshine law purposes, that we do everything in commission meetings in public, in front of the public. That's the only thing about it, so that things don't get forgotten or set behind or whatever, you know. And, you know, as we come up with new projects and everything, we can add them in. And then shift our priorities if we need to, because funding or delays for whatever reason, you know. Excuse me. But it's a suggestion. This is just a template I made up to start with, you know, give you some sort of idea of what was going on in my mind. Obviously, there may be things we want to add to this template, and maybe something to, you know, just whatever y'all think. But I thought this was a starting point for our planning on projects that we're working on, so that we could keep up to date and everybody be on the same page with it.
Mayor?
I like Commissioner Barron's idea, and I mean, my suggestion, this is just, I'm just one voice of 17 on commission and mayor. You know, the county has you did your first strategic document that has, you identified some priorities. For instance, public safety and radio interoperability was like some of the action items like Oak Ridge has in their strategic plan. And then maybe this is you know, that is part of what Commissioner Barron is suggesting, is this is the work progress part of the plan, that, you know, your strategic plan, your strategies may get updated over time. You may want to focus on something. There may be another need that emerges in the county that needs the strategic look, but then you always have this document that continues to grow and be added to, and that is able to be posted online, and if citizens want to know what's going on, they could just easily track that, kind of like your motion list that you have. I mean, it would take a little work to get this, it would take a lot of work to get this off the ground, but once we dig in and start, it's doable. I think it's doable.
Where would you start with that?
You just have to start one project at a time, really and truly. And, you know, I know Commissioner Barron is saying this is a template. I mean, there may be some other things we want to add on here. Are there any other things that you would think commission would want to know about a project, or, you know, citizens if they were logging on? You know, just some high-level stuff. I mean, I don't think you want to put all, you know, everything on there. Then we'd be getting into, it's going to be a full-time job. But
Well, it's just like the water issue that we talked about before.
Yeah.
Where we've talked and had so many meetings and all that, and then really, I blame myself for not getting the word out enough, you know, to the public, exactly what was going on. But this would be a prime example of why that's needed.
yeah,
Well, it's something for y'all to consider. don't expect the world to change overnight, but,
Well,
you
we
know,
can definitely move
this
that.
is something I'm just suggesting we put together and work on, and so that, like I say, we can all be kept up to date on various projects that's ongoing and things like that. And, you know,
We can definitely, like the mayor was talking about, and I'm sure that on our next subject, strategic planning update, you know, that could be moved right into that
yeah.
as far as something that we've got going forward.
Well, you got your strategic planning, and then, like I say, you got this to go along with it. And like I say, we put it together in a form just like our monthly minutes or agendas.
Any other discussion?
But, so, I like the idea. How would we manage this? You know, I mean,
As far as whose responsibility it'd be?
yeah, I mean, I like this.
Yeah.
And I think there could be some more, you know, like the mayor said, it could be a situation where we're required by law to do something. It could be a contract we were entered into, we gotta, you know, whatever. You know, maybe we could just do like an incubator type thing. Maybe we could start with the Riverview, what's it called up there?
New River?
New River.
Mhm.
The river's in my mind, get that water. But maybe we can do New River project and start it, you know, and then maybe it would go to budget for cost and estimates after the mayor gets more information. But I like this. I mean, I think it could work, and it's just a matter of who's gonna maintain this. I guess it would depend, maybe something in this would be like, a committee would be assigned after it gets, if it gets funding and such. Maybe it gets assigned to a certain committee to follow that piece of business through or project or something. But I like it.
It's almost like what one of the purchasing's requirements were at one time.
So I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Mayor.
So Commissioner Barron has on there priority, and so I think, you know, we would need to have a little bit of discussion about how, so it is connected to the strategic plan, but then is it a project? So for instance, if someone comes and they want to build a statue and a waterfall in Community X, and then how do you, I mean, does commission make a judgment at the budget level or operations level and say, you know, this is a wonderful idea, we'll put it on our project list, but it doesn't meet, you know, our priorities at this time? Or, I mean, you know, there's some more discussion in terms of it being an attachment to your strategic plan. I mean, that's just some food for thought.
Just as different levels.
Yeah.
well, if you want to attach it to this strategic plan, then we need to have a vote at county commission meeting to attach it to the
Oh, okay.
plan.
Well, let's bring
And
this back
changes,
next
if you're
month.
gonna make changes to this, then it needs to be before the full commission. You know, so that everything's above board and out and open. You know?
Yeah.
We set our priorities at commission meetings.
I think if we bring this back next month, give the mayor and our law director time to look at it
Certainly.
and think about whose legal requirements and all that, and bring it back and talk about it.
I'd like to get Brian involved in it too.
Yeah.
See what he thinks would be the best way. I was thinking on a simple Google document type of form, you know, so that it's easily shareable, but we need to make it to where it's restricted in who changes it.
Yeah, I can see that going to several
know.
committees like IT, Finance Committee.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll just put that on for next month?
Sure.
Okay. Have you got
Okay.
that, Annette? Okay. Any other discussion? All right, we'll move on to Commissioner Palmer. Strategic planning update. Would you like to have my jacket?
No, I'm freezing. It feels really weird to be on this side of the desk, y'all. Miss y'all. I know you miss me too. You got big shoes to fill. Just teasing. So I'm glad to talk about this strategic planning workshop, and we need to be thinking about having the next one to reevaluate these priorities. But last month, we talked about the priorities and what has been already accomplished or what's already in progress. And so this month, I just wanted to bring something up, and particularly looking at priority 7 and 8. And you guys have already been all over this. Priority 7 is better communication with citizens and internally. And priority 8 was engage citizens in a strategic growth plan. So just that strengthening our civic engagement. And it's so interesting, NACO put out their newspaper, and they have 5 ways counties can strengthen civic engagement. Their number 1 way was develop and maintain a clear vision and a strategic plan. And I thought, okay, I've got to read this, right? So a well-defined vision and strategic plan are the foundations of effective civic engagement. It's not just about setting goals, but also about communicating those goals to citizens. Sharing the big picture helps citizens understand the directions their community is heading, how it impacts their daily lives and well-being, and how they can contribute to this future. And Commissioner Varon touched on that. But developing a plan and sharing it is only the first step. To keep the plan alive, and by keeping this in operations and on the agenda, you're keeping the plan alive. We need to identify performance metrics and regularly report on them to show real progress and setbacks, because we're going to have setbacks. We're not always going to be moving forward and towards the county's goals. Connecting the plan to the budget also helps citizens understand how their tax dollars are being allocated to achieve specific goals. And so that's really, I just thought I'd bring that, since you're keeping the plan alive and keeping it before us, just kind of highlight these 2 priorities about communication and engaging with the citizens. And the mayor just talked about that, about going through the website. Commissioner Wandell's always saying we need to get that committee on the website. We've heard him say that several times. So we're actually forging ahead in those areas, and we're fulfilling some of these priorities through our committees. One particular that we've really not talked about that you may want to bring up in this committee is developing a community facilities plan. That inventory existing infrastructure, roads, utilities, that sort of thing. So that would kind of go through planning, some of the things that you talked about tonight with Fork Mountain and New River. So anyway, this is just these 2 priorities here. I heard it just over and over in this committee tonight, and I just thought I would bring that before this group and say, we need to continue to engage our citizens and let them know what we're doing and connect these priorities to the budget as well. So I hope that that's what your intention was, as far as bringing this before this body. The strategic plan, we just want to keep it alive. We don't want to set it on a shelf. Like Commissioner Varon said, we want to keep bringing it forward and looking at these different priorities. So I hope I fulfilled that request of yours,
Yes.
Mr. Chairman.
Mhm.
Any questions or any more comments on that? I think we're doing great. This is a 5-year plan, and it's like we're running through it. So I think that's great. And we need to look forward to the next one where we can adjust the plan a little bit more.
Okay,
All right?
sounds
Thank you.
good.
Thank you.
All right, next is unfinished business. Do we have any unfinished business? Commissioner Wandell?
Did we take up the government holiday schedule, or?
No, we didn't. You're right. Let's do the 2025 government holiday schedule. I had that set out and covered it up. Has everybody got that in front of them?
I'll make a motion to approve. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Make a motion to approve the holiday schedule for 2025.
A second.
All right, we got a motion by Commissioner Barron, second by Commissioner Capshaw. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimous. Then that brings us to unfinished business. Seeing none, what about any new business? It's been a great meeting. Again, thank you for your support, Commissioner Wandale.
I can say this at the regular commission meeting, but I just want to mention it again, that we'll have the Tennessee County Commissioners Association meeting, October 1st at Museum of Appalachia. Hope everybody can be there. It starts about 5, I think 5:30. Hope everybody can make it. It's the Tennessee County Commission Association's regional meeting. Love to have you.
Okay.
Everybody.
Do you need to register or just show up?
No, well, we should let Annette know who plans on attending, but, yeah.
Okay. All right,
I'd
put
like
me
to-
down.
Mayor's gonna be the keynote speaker. She just don't know it yet.
I did put it on the calendar to attend.
Good. I hope so.
All right.
And everybody, to me, is welcome. I mean, as far as elected officials, department heads, love to have everybody come out and represent Anderson County. Chancellor, come on out. Nicole, come on out. Get you a barbecue and learn a little bit about the Museum of Appalachia. See some commissioners from around the counties,
Yeah.
other counties.
Okay.
What was the time on that?
5:30.
5:30?
Yep. I had a meeting tonight in Bradley County, but I couldn't make that.
All right, seeing nothing else come before this committee, adjourn. Thank you.